Okay, so today we are going to talk about company culture, one of our favorite subjects, but we want to kind of focus in on culture versus cult and the idea that where should companies draw the line in terms of creating the optimal culture, because it's such a buzzword now, and there's so many positive things about having a good company culture, retention and acquiring talent and productivity and all that stuff, and it's all really good. But we've just been noticing a lot of trends and trying to figure out for ourselves where does it cross the line from, a quality culture into kind of the weird cultish in your personal life line. So welcome to the podcast, the 5+8 show. Ade, Gabe, Sarah, Jeff are with me. And so let's talk first about what we have here at 5+8 and why we think it works and where we've changed over the years. So, simple first things is we're a small company. Finally, we have health insurance and dental and vision, right? I don't know how to use it, but we do have it. We have unlimited vacation. That's where I wanted to start. Unlimited vacation, but obviously it's not really unlimited because
when you're busy, you can't really go on vacation.
Does anyone know how much vacation they actually take?
Couldn't tell you if I tried.
Yeah, I've thought about looking, but then I feel like that would defeat the purpose if I tried to figure out how much vacation this person took, because then it would feel like I was,
not being cool.
Yeah, exactly.
So if you try to, a lot of days that people don't end up coming, specifically parents like Jeff or David or me, because something comes up that day.
Right.
That stuff doesn't get put in the calendar, but that in and of itself is probably most people's vacation times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At most places for sure. And it's not vacation because that stuff isn't fun either.
No.
When all of a sudden you realize you can't leave your house because your kid's sick or your kid got a flat tire or whatever.
Yeah, I think that was always really annoying and I don't know how many companies still do it that way, but the way I always remember companies was 10 vacation days and 5 personal days, right?
I think so.
And then the personal days were sick days or
funeral days.
Yeah, and that's 15 days I don't know how many weeks. I did the math one time on an Instagram post or something, but it's basically 96%, basically 4% of your year you can take off, or 6% of your year you can take off, which is absurd. I mean, you've got dentist appointment. Stuff like that too, like going to the dentist, going to the doctor, kids doctor stuff. It's kind of absurd. But I wanted to, one thing I saw someone post, another agency post, was that they have unlimited vacation days, but what they're doing, because people weren't taking them, they're forcing them, they're requiring you to take a certain amount of days. So you have unlimited vacation days, but you're required to take at least, I don't know, whatever. I don't know what the number is.
I mean, some companies will buy them back from you too.
Yeah.
I know that.
Well, that's interesting.
My brother's company will, you can, if he doesn't want to go on vacation, he saves up 32 days, he can sell them back to the company.
Wow. That's kind of cool.
And just get a check. I mean, that is kind of cool, really.
You can even do that when you quit. If you've worked there for a number of years and you have all these hours that you didn't take, then they'll just give that to you back.
Yeah, I remember that at an agency I worked for, that when I left, they were like, "You've got this many." But I don't know. I just think that's. I guess that when the company gets bigger, you have to be more process oriented and have more things like that in place, because you can't be as willy nilly. I don't know, but then again, that kind of goes against the whole trust thing that we always talk about, of having that people are gonna do what's right if you give them the amount of trust. So Sarah did a little research on some of the crazy culture versus cult things, and we're going to go through a few of them and see which ones we think are officially crossing the line from culture into cult. Sarah, you look really worried.
Yeah, I didn't do that much research. Do you want me to go with that one we just talked about?
Sure.
I mean, I tried doing some research and everything was like defining cult versus culture. Like, what's the difference? But so this one is interesting. Apple in October of last year announced that they would, I guess, reimburse employees up to $20,000 toward egg freezing for the female employees.
Okay.
That's really strange.
Why are they going to
Yeah,
that
why are they
level?
why are they doing that? Does it say like what the thought
Well,
process
this doesn't
is?
say why, but it got a lot of negative feedback, obviously, because they feel like it's an unfair way to pressure women to put off having
Yeah.
children and keep
Work.
working.
Yeah, that's exactly what it's that
weird-
I think that's the thing. That's the thing that bugs me is that when you try to mask culture, but really it's how am I trying to say this? You know, like you're disguising a culture benefit, but really it's all about getting the maximum productivity out of people. You know, like the dinner thing, like providing dinner for people and paying for their dinner. Well, I mean, I want to go home.
Yeah,
I want to eat dinner at home.
The egg thing is super weird though. Like,
That's next
I mean,
level.
now you're like controlling your employees' bodies like to a really severe degree. It seems like, you know.
Gabe, you like it?
I can't put into words how much I hate it.
Your face was so strange. I was like, what?
And I
is-
was like,
I'm like, does he disagree?
Does he agree with Apple?
Absolutely.
Yeah, you love it.
Your 20s and your 30s are for work. Have your kids when we're about to fire you.
Yes, right. Yeah, right when you're irrelevant and we're gonna be ageist about it, we're
And
gonna
then you
fire
can buy your eggs back from us, and then you can go have kids.
Well, I was talking to
We'll sell you back your eggs.
I was going to say that I was talking to, and I think I can say her name because she's my I guess you can say she's my mentor. And that sounds kind of nerdy. Cindy Marion was telling me how she really tried to get people to have the best culture when they were in the office, but then also make sure that people went home. And that if we're running a big agency, I think that's very commendable. Brenda Love was the same way. She had a great culture. I think Brenda Love and Love Advertising was the first time I ever was like, wow, you can. That was the first time I ever saw because Jeff and Thomas and all those guys were there, and I remember I went back to Piper after my first interview, and she was like, how did it go? I was like, I want to work this place so badly. Like, it is the coolest, most chill. Like, I can't even believe this place exists because it's just a bunch of people who are creative, who are sitting around coming up with ideas. And I was like, I didn't even know this. I thought this was only in movies and stuff. And they don't even work. They work 40 hours a week. They don't even have crazy, insane hours. I just was blown away by that. And I think that we took a lot of that, which we liked so much about Love and implement it into 5+8.
Yeah, I think a lot of what we do is kind of based off that. It feels kind of the same.
She gave us so much freedom. I mean, it was
almost too much.
It was almost too much. It was almost too much. I think we took advantage of the fact that we were quote unquote creative, and I think they thought that we needed all that freedom.
Yeah.
We didn't need all that freedom.
But I mean, I remember specifically about that place, taking Brody there when he was a little kid, like a little 3 or 4 year old.
Yeah.
And he was running around. And he puked in the candy bowl.
Yeah. Well, okay. You left out part of that story. He ate all the candy.
Well, yeah,
the candy bowl.
He ate all of the candy, and
So
then he threw up
in the candy bowl.
in the candy bowl.
Well, that's that goes back on the parent. I think you got to look at that. I think you have to look at the father in that situation, find out who the dad is,
and take it up with him.
Yeah. No, but I think so it's the idea of when do you stop? When do you pull back? When do you say, look, this is great and everything? I mean, Sarah, you're a great example of this. You've worked here since day one, and I think it's fair to say that you like it here. Mm-hmm. And you really like your personal freedom.
Yes, I'm not one to go to happy hours
Right.
all the time.
And we don't really have many happy hours.
No, we don't. We really don't.
No.
But I think what I enjoy the most is that like we don't have to be here from like 9 to 5. Like if we're sitting around, it's like 4:30 and we're done, and like we don't have anything else we can get done in 30 minutes, or like what's really that needs to be done. It's nice that we can just get up and go.
That's a good point. I think that's culture too.
Or like if we have errands we need to run in the middle of the day. I mean, this especially since COVID and us being at home and all working remote, and it's more of a trust thing, but like being able to get the freedom to like get up and do those little things, or take a little bit longer for lunch if we need to.
Yeah.
Like I don't feel like I have to sit in the office.
I mean, it's
8 hours a day.
And I think any employee would say that's stupid. Like to have to sit at your desk, and we've all had jobs like that where you were paid. Are you paying for the body, or like the person's warm body in the chair, or are you paying for the productivity and the talent and the skill? And I think that's really the question, because
most jobs that I've had where I had to be there till X amount of time, I spent like the last 30 minutes of my day on Facebook,
of course,
online shopping, not working, and just physically being there.
Yeah.
Yeah. I had one job where it just wasn't busy enough. And I had planned out I had to like plan out like all these big elements of my day. Like going to the bathroom was like really exciting, because I was going to go and I was going to hang out in the bathroom for like 20 minutes. Because it was all about running out the clock. Have you ever had a job where you just got to run out the clock? You got 8 hours, 9 hours that you have to be there. I mean, I'd be there from 8:30 to 5:30, and I probably had an hour and a half worth of work to do. That sucks. And you're just playing.
You're just trying to figure out what to do all
day. I was hoping that I had to poop twice. Too much?
No.
Thanks.
All right, another one?
Yeah, what else?
This
What else
is interesting. Okay, it's more of like promoting employees to exercise. So Patagonia, they're all about, healthy lifestyle. They encourage their employees to go out during lunch and exercise, and they go as far as having their receptionist make daily announcements about weather conditions for surfing.
You can go surfing at lunch?
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
How close are they to the beach?
That's pretty tight. I'm assuming
They're in
they're
Denver.
very close to the beach.
They're in Denver. Okay, so
I
you can't surf.
They just tell you.
I don't know where Patagonia is headquartered out of. Somewhere where you can surf.
That's cool. I think that we should. We've talked about that. It's hard sometimes mentally, but I think working out or exercising at lunch is a great move.
I really enjoy it. I just do not like coming back here all sweaty. We don't have gyms and stuff.
Right. Yeah.
Which I appreciate that too, though, because some companies that have like really big campuses with like everything for you to do on campus, it's like they don't want you to leave.
Right.
Where we have separation.
Yes.
Well, it depends on who your boss is too. Like, yeah, you can go surfing at lunch, but what happens if you're gone for an hour and 45 minutes?
Right.
And then you get back. Is it still cool?
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, surfing doesn't seem like the kind of thing that
it's like you can go do that in 20 minutes.
Right.
You know?
You just throw on your wetsuit and you're bored and dry. I don't know. I mean, it's cool.
I was gonna say, it reminds me of like being in middle school, and you have gym class in the middle of the day.
Yep.
And you have to go to your next class all like,
And you got that
like smelly 13-year-olds.
stink.
Stinky 14-year-old. Yeah, and I think what about companies that pay a stipend or an amount for a gym membership?
Okay, so I was gonna bring up that Basecamp email.
Yeah, that's actually what spurred all this was that
Saying
Basecamp email.
that they're not they got rid of a lot of those perks because they didn't want to be telling their employees what to do,
Right.
or like incentivizing them to do certain things that they may not even care about.
Right.
Like, it's great in theory that you should be exercising, and it's great that your company wants you to be healthy, but like, is it really their place?
So I didn't read it. So can you kind of like sum up what it was
Well,
or what they said
yeah, I mean, I
for
think,
the listeners as well?
well, so basically, the overall thing was they were Basecamp was taking a step back and trying basically to control, do less to control kind of what employees did and didn't do outside of work. But I want to take, because where this really came from was, I thought they wrote this really long like message blog, and I thought it was really good. And the main thing, the first paragraph of it, and the biggest thing was in Basecamp. people were having, it was during 2020, and people were having super intense political discuss. I don't know if they were super intense. People were having political discussions on Basecamp, on their internal Basecamp, whatever. And they basically outlawed it. They basically said, look, there will no longer be politics as a subject matter on Basecamp because it's just too polarizing. It's getting ugly. People are getting offended.
And Basecamp is for work.
Right. And I thought it was great.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, cool. Good for you guys. I mean, that seems like a decent, big company, probably, I don't know, they have hundreds of employees. I don't know how many employees they have, but I thought that was a pretty good move. But apparently they got a bunch of backlash and like half the company threatened to quit. 30% of the company did quit.
Because they can't argue on
It says
Basecamp
right
anymore?
here, Basecamp's head of design, head of marketing, and head of customer support are all quitting.
Yeah.
And the company's iOS team also quit. Yeah.
And I was like, damn, you don't know. Like, I just thinking from a leadership perspective, you're trying to do the right thing and then it just blows up in your face. And you're doing it. I think you're doing it. Now they had this other. There's the thing behind all this was that there was some existing issues where, again, they had this list. Okay, Basecamp, apparently the executives had this list of funny names. So I don't know what it was, but basically they would just write down, they'd see a name, maybe, I don't know if it's someone who interviewed or is on LinkedIn or whatever. I know, right? So someone would have a funny name and they would just write it down and it made it like, I don't know, like some internal joke, basically. So, but then of course some of the names are not white names or whatever, they're more like ethnic based names. So then it became, someone uncovered the list and they were like, this is, whatever. So I guess they had some pre-existing stuff going on, but you can't do shit like that.
Didn't Key and Peele do that though? Like to an awesome degree with it.
Yeah, they did an amazing job. But that's again, a bunch of white guys in an executive board can't have a list
can't
of,
be like
they can't
that.
have a list of Latravius Brax, whatever. Those names were amazing.
They actually were.
Yeah, they were. That was probably that's probably the best Key and Peele skit ever. Go ahead.
I was just going to follow up here on this article from TechCrunch that said apparently Coinbase CEO did the same thing, and out of their 1,200 person staff, 60 took a buyout as a result of those changes, which is similar to what Basecamp did. That no more politics at work kind of thing.
So that's again like this, and this kind of goes into the whole I posted that thing that I thought was really funny about the guy shaking your hand, where it cut, example of companies trying to befriend the LGBTQ community, like by making their logo a rainbow, which is frankly kind of weak. I think we would all agree, unless you're legitimately have already been an advocate and a supporter. But I think just the emptiness of making your logo a rainbow and not doing anything else is pretty lame. But where is the line? Like, where do you? I guess everybody wants their company. Like, how far do you want your company to be involved in all these matters? It's kind of tricky.
I mean, as long as, I don't know. I think it's hard for a big company like Basecamp or any of these other big tech companies because there's so many of them.
Mm-hmm.
But like for us, it's small. We're easy to kind of all be on the same page. And we're like, hey, we're just like here to work and we all pretty much get along.
Yeah,
Right.
I think that I wonder, after the whole there was the whole Tom's model that a lot of people borrowed from, and then there's a lot of backlash from that, and how real is all that stuff of everything. Every company doesn't need to also stand for.
What did they get in trouble doing something?
No, I'm saying that whole model of we give back,
Right.
Every part of our profit we give back and everything like that. I think nowadays there's a feeling like you have to do something with your company. And I think most companies give something, they volunteer, they give money, they donate services and stuff like that. But I guess my question is, can a company just be a company?
I was going to say I think it's more important to some people than others.
Yeah, I guess you're
And
right.
so for those people that find like I really need to find a company that like aligns with my values and also like projects that, then you know that those they're gonna gravitate towards those kinds of companies who are more vocal, whereas somebody who doesn't really care is not.
Yeah, I guess that's right. I guess the company is just is really a reflection of the people who work there. And if, you know, I mean, the only thing I can think of where we kind of took like we used to actually post it about, and I wrote blogs and stuff was, and did this stuff with Gritzco. I mean, the Black Lives Matter thing is the only thing I can really remember us kind of taking a stand on. And that was just because it was so to me and to a lot of people here was so glaring and so kind of ugly that we felt like we wanted to say something, opposed to like, but we don't take up for any political parties. We don't take up for any sort of other causes, I mean, except for, you know, like good causes like the way home adoption and things like that. I don't know. I just think it's interesting, and I think it's an interesting subject, and how much you want your company to be involved, and how much you just want to go to work and have a good relationship with your coworkers, and then go home, and
I think that's what most people want to do.
yeah,
You know, I think that's just. I think probably the majority of the population just wants to do that.
Also, we have a really interesting relationship with work here compared to some countries. I don't think we're like as hardcore as maybe like Japan.
mm-hmm.
We're like notoriously, you know,
Right.
workaholics.
No,
but
but
it's
I mean,
also not like,
I don't know, dude. We're up there.
yeah,
We're way ahead of a lot of countries in terms of how much we work.
Yeah, I think we work more than most of Europe does.
Yeah, Europe
Sure.
hates to work.
so that was going to be my
They
next.
don't want to work, man.
Oh man.
Yeah, that was gonna be my next point. Is like
okay.
it's not unheard of in your, you know, many European countries to take a month off for the holidays.
Yeah.
and people are like, okay, I'm out, and then like that's it, and you have like all these big projects coming down the line. They're like, it's normal. Nobody like bats an eye at it, but here it's like that. I mean, it's unheard of.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that's one where we screwed up. I think that's one that we've. I definitely we haven't had to yet. That'll be an interesting thing to do when we have our first pregnant person. What we do for that, but I definitely think that we've always erred on the side of what's right, what we think is right for the employee, always. And so whatever that is going to be, we're going to try and do that because, you know, I know from having 3 kids, the Piper has had to deal with not a very sensitive people who are not always sensitive to it, and different companies, you know, two different companies, and people weren't always sensitive to the fact that, you know, having a pregnancy and then having a C-section, which is a major surgery. There's a huge recovery time there. There's mental, there's emotional, there's a lot. And to think that someone can just, what is it, like 6 weeks or something absurd.
6 weeks feels like a lot when you're at work and you're working.
But when you're home,
But when- yeah,
Isn't it something like, no,
it's only
or is it 12 weeks?
6 weeks is generally like the standard.
What's it?
I know somebody that got 6 months.
Will you Google? Oh, I know somebody who got paternal, what was it called?
Dad-
Paternity leave.
Well, don't you guys take paternity leave?
I mean, took a couple weeks off.
You did? How did David?
Yeah. But
Just a couple weeks
again,
off.
we've always just said, like, just do what you got to do.
Yeah.
Take care of. I mean, I want you to Google what the standard in the United States is for maternity leave. Because my buddy took paternity. He works at a big firm. He took paternity leave, and he told me, "Man, I just sat around and played video games the whole time." Because when the baby's that little,
he wasn't doing anything.
no, he didn't do anything. Doing laundry and playing video games.
So FMLA will entitle employees to 12 weeks of unpaid leave.
Dude,
So that really all
So
FMLA.
that just means like you
yeah,
don't work here
and
anymore.
all FMLA guarantees is that you won't lose your job.
Yeah, that means we'll basically just hire you back in
Right.
12 weeks.
What's FMLA?
Family medical leave. Hang on. It stands for. Hang on.
Is that like the FDA of
Yeah, it's like
maternity leave?
Basically, yeah, it's just like a thing in regards to any kind of family emergency you have to take care of, and you have to leave work for it.
Okay.
Family and Medical Leave Act is
Okay.
what it is. It's what protects workers from being fired for taking time off
Okay.
for specifically medical and emergencies and birth.
Yeah.
But I'm reading, or I've lost it. I can't find it now. But they recommend at least 12 weeks.
Yeah.
So some people take off more than that. I'm gonna be taking off 6. I'm just kidding. I won't.
No, I mean, I think
I'd probably be ready to go.
that's
to
the
work
thing
at a
is
certain point.
sometimes people are ready to go back and some people aren't, and that's the tricky thing. And I know again it's much harder at larger companies, but we're not talking about larger companies really. We're talking about really just talking about what's right. And I think that's more important to me than, and I don't want to judge, any company can do what they want, but I would rather spend our energy on, giving people time off when they need it, whether it's a mental thing or it's a vacation thing, a child thing, whatever it is. I'd rather focus on being super flexible in that way than spending a lot of money and time on like trips and retreats and team building. I mean, I think if you need to leave the office to build your team, I mean, that's what you're doing every day, I think, is you're building your team. Like that's what we do every day.
Yeah, you build your team by working together.
Yeah. I mean, to ask you to take a weekend off or take your nights to spend with us, I don't know, it seems like almost like stealing your free time.
That was a common thread in a lot of these articles, and I'm sure we all were reading the same things, that like companies will, like Google or Facebook or whatever, will create this environment to where they don't really want you to go home. That there's no, they've got amenities. They're benefits that are poised or presented as amenities, but really they're kind of like
Ways to keep you there.
Ways to keep you
engaged,
there.
keep you productive.
So it's like, we have showers, we have a gym,
We have a full court basketball facility.
right, exactly. It's like, why would you need to leave? You just need to change and then come back to work. It's like, oh, you can take naps at work. Great. But like,
yeah.
We
Right.
also-
you really just sleep and then go back to your desk, basically.
They made us like refurbish a specific room.
Can we hear you? Okay, then you need to get him on a mic. Because if you're going to talk, then on the podcast, it's just going to be silence for like, well, I mean, you're literally the engineer. I just wanted to make sure that you knew that you weren't going to be heard. So hit us up with this story.
Here you go.
Who called? Yeah, seriously, this story better bring it, man.
I doubt it.
All right, go for it. Oh, Black Magic? That's nice. Hey, Black Magic.
You got one viewer.
Yeah, so basically I was saying that they made us like refurbish and redecorate this one specific room, and they wanted it to be basically like a relaxation and like, come take a nap, come relax, play music. So they made us put in speakers. And it was basically playing like this, super transient music. And then it was supposed to like keep you relaxed, and you want to
Like,
stay.
do you meditate in there?
Dude, where were you
Basically,
working at?
This was the call. This was a call center. This was the call center, and they were like, they called it the basically the stress free room was what it was called, or something like
Were
that.
there beds?
They did bring in like a little like cot, like sort of.
But then you're sharing a bed with all your coworkers. That's freaking weird.
It was really weird. It was really weird.
I mean,
They brought in like yoga mats, so
Uh-huh.
you can practice yoga and meditate, listen to your music. They had like the little incense going on in there, different things. It was very strange, but that was what I was just saying. According to what Gabriel was saying, where they're trying to keep you there.
Yeah.
People like, I mean, I could remember by the half point of the day, I was ready to leave.
Yeah.
But yeah, they I guess figured this would make people want to stay at a call center and continue taking calls all
man,
day.
that sounds awful.
And yeah, it was just, but no, the beauty about it was they made the people, they didn't get like contractors to come work on this. They were like, hey,
Oh, you guys had to build it.
we had to build
I
it.
like it.
And we had to bring in all the furniture and all that.
This is good.
Garbage.
This is good leadership.
But yeah, so that's all the story was.
Well, Jeff liked the story.
I'm glad Jeff liked it. Sorry to everyone else.
Sarah,
You know how bootleg
Sarah
that
hated
setup
it.
probably was?
yeah, Ade built it. I'm just kidding. Ade can build some stuff.
We used to have some great team building activities at Chuck E. Cheese.
Okay.
Yeah, they were terrible. You basically had to come after work. They were mandatory. You get paid $5 an hour, so you got paid your $5, and then we all
Was
had
that
to-
your normal hourly rate?
Yeah, this was like
Is this minimum wage?
this was
back
before
then?
they raised minimum wage. Remember, it was like 2009 or something. They raised it to like $7.25. So we were all making $5 an hour.
Oh my gosh.
And we had to come after work and do team building activities and chants and sing songs.
Oh my
and play games
goodness.
and tournaments. It was
Sorry, you worked at Chuck E. Cheese.
yeah. I worked at Chuck E. Cheese.
This was only a few years ago.
right. This was right before 5+8.
It was not.
No.
How
It was-
old were you?
I was in high school. I was
Okay.
like 16.
Okay.
It's only a few years ago.
Yeah. It was. I was like, yeah. I think I was 15, turning 16.
Of
I
all
worked.
the places to work, you were like Chuck E. Cheese.
They were hiring, and I wanted a job.
What does a Chuck E. Cheese employee wear?
The worst uniform you've ever seen.
I feel like it was bad.
It was
Like a yellow visor.
like pleated navy slacks, with white dad sneakers.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, all white, and a ratty red Chuck E. Cheese polo.
Oh,
And
Tucked in?
it was like yeah, tucked in with a
Nice,
belt.
nice.
And it was like that really
Sarah's
like,
pulling up the data.
yeah. Did it have
Yeah,
like
it didn't look like that. Look up the old one.
was it like a really thickly
that
embroidered?
really thick cotton that's like
Yes.
scratchy and uncomfortable.
I bet it was too big.
Horrible. Yeah, it was a nightmare. I was a cashier and I worked in the kitchen and made pizzas and then occasionally had to go as the
The
rat.
pizza's all
You occasionally had to be the rat?
Everyone had to take turns being the rat, especially when you were new.
God.
Were the pizzas like frozen in there?
No, actually, the pizzas were the best part about working there.
Yeah, the pizza at Chuck E. Cheese is not as bad as you would think it would be.
No, legit, everything else is a nightmare. The kitchen is actually the best part of Chuck E. Cheese.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, everything is pretty fresh.
You don't want to be out on the floor. You want to be back in the kitchen if you're working there.
Yeah. There was a rumor that they like recycled pizzas. I never saw that happen.
Yeah,
This bozo was making pizzas.
this bozo. Sarah's like, they have a nice website. It's a good user interface. It's literally, I could see her wheels
She's
turning.
like, I might go there this weekend.
I wonder who did it. I wonder who did this Chuck E. Cheese website. All right. Is that it?
I think so.
Yeah?
Are there more weird perks that you found on that article?
I will say that.
Oh, okay. I'll
the-
tell them. Yeah, this is a completely unrelated story that I've
Scoop?
that I told many times. We'll close it down with this story. So when I was 15, I went to Germany really randomly. My sister was supposed to go, and then she like chickened out, and they were like, "Adam, do you want to go?" And I was like, "Sure." So 15-year-old Adam flies to Germany because it was my parents' friends had a like lived there. The guy was German, their friend who's
So they just sent you to Germany.
just sent me to Germany, but not to like a city, like a small town called Schwäbisch Hall. And so I get there and I immediately like get there like at 2 p.m. and don't know about jet lag. So I just go to bed and sleep it from 2 p.m. to like midnight. And basically I'm off the entire time and I'm on like the opposite cycle. So the very rotund, gritty woman of the house with hands that were bigger and rougher than mine. It was like a pig farm. I don't know where the hell I was. Anyway, it was very weird and I didn't have a good time. Anyway, one time they took us out. Everybody in the town took them all out to bring us downtown to get ice cream. And there were all these there was a bunch of German girls who were like 15 and 16 and they were really cute. And I was like trying to just, I don't know, stand near them or be cool or whatever. And I think they were making fun of me. I don't know. They were speaking German and I didn't speak German. So not a great trip overall. So we go to this
Why were you there?
I don't know, man. We go to this ice cream.
Wait, sorry.
Yeah.
You were by yourself?
Yes.
And you were 15?
Uh-huh.
He can't even speak to anyone there.
No.
Your parents sent you there?
Yeah. Not a well thought out plan. I did get drunk for the first, not maybe the first time in my life, but I did get stinking drunk on some German beer because I didn't know how to drink and they let everyone drink there. So that was kind of fun, I guess. Anyway, so we go to this ice cream shop and I go to the counter and like everything that happened there, I don't know what's going on because they're speaking in German and they're like, "Das Vinant Funten John," and I'm like, "I don't know, man." And there's like, "Ja, I'm like, I don't know, man. I just some vanilla, and they're like, "Sausage soup." I'm like, "What? How many scoops?" And I'm like, "I don't know, 1 scoop." And he's like, "There's like this big pause," and he looks at me, and he's like, "One scoop?" I'm like, "Yeah, 1 scoop." Like, whatever, dude. I'm just like, can I just get out of this freaking line? I just want to go. I don't want to be here. And all these little girls, I remember one of them was Dorothy, and they were just all like standing around kind of looking at me. And then they all order their things. I don't know how many scoops they're ordering. And then so I get to the end of the line and they hand me the world's smallest cone. It's like this is a little bit bigger than a pencil. And the scoop is like the size of a nickel. And it's one little scoop on the world's smallest cone. And he looked at and he's like hands me like, "Are you sure you want this?" And I'm like, "Just give me an ice cream, dude."
He's
All
like,
right?
"Dude, I wouldn't take
'Cause
this if I were you."
I know, I know, and I shouldn't have because I didn't realize how pathetic I would look holding this cone. And then all the girls and everyone else gets like 19 scoops. Because apparently, which is kind of cool, I wish I had gotten experiences. You get all the different flavors, and the ice cream was amazing. The one scoop I had, and then I literally don't like. I don't want to finish it. I don't want to finish it in one bite. So I'm licking this little nickel-sized scoop of vanilla ice cream, and I'm about to knock it off with my tongue because it weighs about, I don't know, nothing. And then everybody starts calling me Von Scoop. They're like, it's Von Scoop. Yeah, it's ein Scoop. Ein Scoop. I'm like, I just fucking hate Germany.
You are one scoop.
I am.
You do get like the small size.
Oh, whoa, really? Oh, you think that's continued?
Yeah.
All right, well.
You're conscious of your portion.
I try to be.
I just love the idea of a young Adam Faust walking out of the store. There's all these girls outside, and he walks out of the ice cream shop with the most pathetic little.
One scoop. I wish
However
there was a
small you
picture.
think it was smaller.
Probably small. I think it's more like the size of a dime.
So there's
like-
no picture.
I was gonna say it's like one of those like you know those little balls that you get out of like those bouncy balls out of like
Yes.
a machine. You put a quarter in and you get
Yeah,
a little bouncy
yeah,
ball.
yeah.
It's like that.
Yeah, it's like
A
that size.
tablespoon scoop? A teaspoon size scoop?
Like a teaspoon. Like a teaspoon of ice cream.
A little butter.
Yeah, like a little butter ball. Yeah, like those little butter balls. Yeah, like that.
That's
Little line scoop.
one.
I was also gonna say about company culture.
Yep.
Anywhere that tells you that like unironically that tells you we're like a family here.
That's a
Massive
bad,
red flag.
Yeah.
That's a bad sign.
Yeah. We're not a family.
No. I like you guys.
I like you guys a
But
lot.
we are not.
We're all friends.
Yes, but we have our own families.
Right.
Yes.
I want to go. Also, I was thinking like, if you work somewhere and it's like too much of your identity.
That's true.
'Cause, like I'm very proud of my job and this company and this, and I love telling people about 5+8. But like,
You don't talk about it all the time, though, right?
No.
Yeah, that's it.
yeah, like I like going home and having my own life outside of work. And when I tell people what I do, I'm like, oh yeah, I do this, and it's really cool. I like my job.
especially as you get, I think when you're young and it's your first job and stuff, it's a big deal, and it should be. It's your first job, and maybe you don't have kids and all that other stuff. So I think it's really important for young people to feel connected to the job. But as you get older, you're like, man, this is my job, and I enjoy it, but also want to do my job and go home. I know Sarah was a tricky one in the beginning, because when Sarah's your first employee and you're so, as like starting a company, and you're so jacked up to like have everybody be so excited as excited as you are. Sarah was a really tough first employee, because I remember like one day, it was like our first week, and we like walked out of the parking lot together, and I was like, so like, this is so great. We're so happy to have you, and it's your first week, and you're doing great, and just we're gonna do this. We're gonna build this thing, and it's gonna be awesome, and I'm just so excited. And Sarah just looked at me like as blank a stare as you can look at someone, and was like, all right,
She's like, you dudes are sketch.
bye. Just like got in her car and left. And I was like, oh, that was weird. She doesn't seem nearly as excited as me.
It's kind of Adrian, too.
Yes.
We have got very Daria personalities.
Yes. But that's good. It's good. Not everybody needs to be rah rah kumbaya. Anyway, that is today's podcast.
I think so.
Question?
Did you tell a whole bunch of people about Chuck E. Cheese when you used to work there?
Did you?
So actually, I forgot. I left out this part of the story. When I started working at Chuck E. Cheese, right before I started working, I had really long hair, like just before I cut it, maybe a little longer.
Uh-huh.
And I had shaved my head just for fun.
Yeah.
And as a joke, we left in a little like like a little rat tail.
Nice.
And I mean shaved. It was like bald.
Oh,
And then I had
Oh, dude, that looked disgusting.
yeah, it was bald with like a little. It's probably like this long rat tail. It was braided.
oh, like the bad guy in Kickboxer. Well, you probably haven't seen Kickboxer.
I haven't seen that. So I went to my interview.
Van Damme.
I went to my interview like that.
Oh, did they see it?
Yeah,
And they still hired
and
you?
they told me I had to cut it off.
I hope so.
So I did. I cut it off, and
You
then
kept it?
I took it to school.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
you put it in the Ziploc
I knew.
I took it to school and I put it in a
zip.
Ziploc bag because I was gonna give it to somebody. Oh yeah, my friend Patrick asked me for it. He wanted it, and so well, it was in. So I had it in the Ziploc bag,
is
and then I
happening?
left it in my desk. I forgot about it, and then later in the day during one of my classes, one of the like the office attendant, like like students would like spend a period in like helping admin, I guess. One of them walks in with like holding this bag by like the corner of the bag because he didn't want to touch
Like,
it.
he's
Oh my
gonna
God.
like he was gonna get sick.
Yeah, and there's like my little rat tail.
Did they
cut
know
off.
even know what it was?
They knew it was me,
Oh.
and they're like, you left. They're like, you left this in your class this morning in your first period. I was like, oh yeah, that's.
I'm gonna need that.
I nominate that the thumbnail for this episode be Gabe and Photoshop into a Chuck E. Cheese.
Yes,
uniform.
I agree.
There's our
I agree.
episode.
For company culture.
And it can be a picture from their culture website.
Yes. Yes. It
'Cause
should
they've
be.
got a lot of good ones.
That's good.
Yeah, it was like a girl like my age. Like, while she's like, it's like you left this, and I was like, I did.
Excuse me, sir.
Like walked in, and like the whole class is looking at it, and they're like, what the fuck?
I like that I like your confidence to just be like, yeah, that's mine. I'm gonna need that.
I didn't give a shit. I thought it was the coolest thing for like a week to have that thing. They said, I forget who they kept comparing me to, but like the Avatar, it was like a show, like a kid's show. I don't remember. It doesn't matter.
Oh, the last Airbender. or
Yes.
whatever?
Right. Yeah, they said I looked like a monk. Some kids who was sitting behind me one time in class. I remember I only had this for like a few days. Like, sketched out the back of my head with that little monk, and then gave it to me as a picture. Like, just like, here you go.
It's like a gift.
Yeah, it was like a gift. And I was like, here you go. This is cool. I was like, I don't want this, but thank you.
Thank you all for joining us today. This episode is sponsored by Chuck E. Cheese.